Well, good morning, guys. As a follow-up to Monday's lesson where we were talking about resumes, we're going to talk about the other half of most of our job applications, which is a cover letter. And so I've given you guys a few samples of different cover letters, and we'll talk about those in a little bit more detail. But what do you guys think the purpose of a cover letter is?
To say what you can't in a resume.
To say what you can't in a resume, okay. Any other thoughts?
Apply for like a really specific job.
Okay. So talking more specifically to the position you're applying for. Yeah, exactly. So we have kind of our blanket resume that has all of our achievements, our education, our work experience. But yeah, the cover letter speaks more specifically to the job that we're applying for. So it links the details of our resume to the position and or the organization, and like you guys said, it's tailored to that specific position. So we're going to talk about the different components of a cover letter. So the first thing we're always going to have on our cover letter is our heading. And so if we're looking at our sample cover letters, we'll always have our present address, city, state, zip code, we'll have the date. Then we also include the contact information for the position that we're applying for. So a lot of times on job applications at the bottom, it'll say like for job specific questions or related comments, there will usually be a contact person. That would be the person that you would address the letter to. That would be the person that you list up here in the heading with their contact information. So sometimes for job positions, they don't list that contact information. What I usually do, if you can find like an address listed on that company's website, or even if you need to call them and say, hey, what's y'all's address? Who should I address this to? It's okay to call and ask about that. But try to find an address, try to find a specific person to address it to, and we'll talk a little bit too about if there's not a specific person to address it to. Also, you'll have the salutation. You do want to be specific and convey a professional or business tone. So here on our example, and this is a question that got brought up yesterday, on here they have Mr. or Miss, and so I looked it up to specify because one of our meetings we talked about, do you say Miss, do you say Mrs.? If you know that the person is married, you can put Mrs., so dear Mrs. Smith or whatever it may be. If you don't know if they're married or not, just put MS for Miss. So Mr. or Miss. And so you address it directly to them. And if for some reason you don't know who you're directly addressing it to, you can always say, dear search committee, dear selection committee, to whom it may concern. But if at all possible, try to make it as specific as possible. So the body of the letter, there's three key sections. There's the introductory paragraph, there's the body, and there's also the conclusion paragraph. You also have a complimentary closing, as well as your name and signature, and then we also include an enclosure line. And the enclosure line, if you'll see here at the bottom, so they have sincerely, they have their name, and they've literally written enclosure. And that means that the resume or any other supporting documents are also attached with this packet. And another question I got yesterday to double check on is if you're submitting documents electronically, do you still put enclosure at the bottom? Because it's like, you're submitting everything, it's all going electronically. I would still put it on there, whether it's electronic or not. So in the introduction, you want to list the name of the position and how you learned of the position. So stating like, I am applying for, blankety blank internship with such and such company. I learned of this position through maybe a personal contact, maybe you found it online, maybe you found it through, a newspaper, however you came across the position. Talk about how you learned of it. Maybe like my advisor informed me of this internship opportunity, and I'm interested in applying for it. You should also talk about what you know about or why you are interested in the organization. This organization wants to see that you've done a little research on them. They want to know why you're interested in working for them, what you know about them. You don't just want to regurgitate facts about their company that they already know, but show to them why you're interested in the organization. You also want to get the reader's attention. It's your introductory paragraph. You're making kind of that first statement about yourself. And usually the introductory paragraph is about 3 to 4 sentences long. So in the introduction, we have the why and the what. So for the why, we're writing in response to a job advertisement, and the what, we're referring to a specific job opening. So for example, the why, we would say in response to your advertisement in the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, and the what, I would like to be considered for this position as an automotive technician. So in the body of your cover letter, you want to connect yourself to the employer and the position. So the way I usually write the introductory paragraphs, this is really kind of your chance to talk about yourself and your experiences and why you are the most qualified person for this position. Because they already have a copy of your resume, so they're seeing your education, they're seeing your work experience, they're seeing your skills, but this is a chance to talk specifically about why you are the best fit for this position. And talking about your experiences, your background, why you're the best fit. You also want to elaborate from the employer's perspective, so thinking about things that they're looking for in the position and kind of writing to those expectations. Also providing supporting facts and examples of why you're the best fit for the position. Mention your enclosed resume. And usually the body of the cover letter is about, I usually try to keep it to about 1 paragraph, but 1 to 2 is good. So for an example of the body, and this is just 1 sentence in it, but this person said, as my enclosed resume indicates, my qualifications include an ASE certification in GM cars, outstanding customer service skills, air conditioning systems expertise, and 2 years experience in the industry. So they're being very specific. They're talking about some of their certifications that they have. They're talking about their specific experiences and why they are a good fit for that position. So for the conclusion, we want to end positively and confidently. We want to focus on your benefit to the company. So not how the company is going to benefit you personally, but how you as an employee would benefit the company and why you are the best fit and how you're going to help them. We also want to have a concluding summary statement, including your next action. So typically we say, I look forward to speaking with you over the phone or meeting with you in person. Please feel free to contact me at your earliest convenience. So having that follow-up statement. Also in that, you mentioned your contact info. You should already have it in your header. And we'll talk a little bit about that too, matching our header from our resume to our cover letter and having that consistency. And then also thanking them and showing appreciation, and taking the time out of their day to read your cover letter and review your packet materials. So as an example for our conclusion, we could say, I'd be happy to meet with you at your convenience to show how I can help your company. Or I look forward to speaking with you in person. I look forward to meeting your team. Just kind of ending on a positive note. So some tips for success. You do want to vary your sentence structure. You don't want to just have everything is I, me, everything I've done. So you want to vary that a little bit and don't start every single sentence with I did this, I do this. You want to organize your paragraphs into common thoughts so that it has a good kind of logical flow. Also use supporting examples, facts, and evidence of your qualifications. So again, really speaking to your personal experiences and why you're the best fit. Make it employer focused, and then also sounding confident. And we talked about this with the resumes. Definitely use spell check. Have somebody else look at it. Have a couple people read it. I know as an undergrad, I would have some of my professors read my cover letters and look over my resumes. And again, we kind of talked about jargon and just making sure that employers understand everything that we're talking about if we're using kind of specific lingo. Again, we want to match our paper and font to our resume, so having that consistent header, using the same font, using the same sizes, just keeping everything consistent. Keep it to one page. We want, kind of like our resume, we want to be able just to hand out that one-page resume, that one-page cover letter. An employee's probably not going to have, or employer, I should say, is probably not going to have the time to read these really long, extensive cover letters. So we want to try to keep it to just one page. And then again, we talked about addressing it to specific individuals. So instead of just dear sir, dear madam, if there's a specific name to address it to, do that. Any questions so far? And then after the interview, I know you guys know this, but following up immediately afterwards, I went down to the Student Success Center, and some of you guys may have got these before, but they have the Kasner thank you cards. You just literally sign in with your Swivl identification number, and you get a pack of 5 Kasner thank you cards. They look really professional. They're from OSU, they're from Kasner. So I use these a lot of times if we have speakers, and I just want to send out a professional thank you. And I really think a handwritten thank you note goes a long way. I've given handwritten thank you notes, I've been on the receiving end of handwritten thank you notes. I really think they go a long way in showing that appreciation. It's important to keep your name in front of that employer, so sending that thank you note immediately after, you're thanking them, keeping in touch with them. If it's been a while and you haven't really heard anything back, it is okay to give them a call and say, hey, I was just kind of wondering where you're at in the selection process, and just try to get an idea of your timeline. We talked about the handwritten thank you card. And ideally, we want to send one to each person that we met with. Or if it's a specific selection committee and you know all the members of that committee, addressing it to each of them as well. And then for our thank you note, try to keep it to 1 to 2 paragraphs. You're showing appreciation of the interviewer's time. Again, you want to mention the position, because if they're hiring or looking at multiple positions at the same time, just kind of reminding them, hey, this is for the internship position. Oops, somebody locked out. Again, just mentioning why you're a strong candidate and that you look forward to hearing from them soon. All right. So, if you guys have brought your cover letters, or if you're totally starting from scratch, this is just kind of a blank template that I made so that we can handwrite a cover letter. Or if you have an electronic copy with you, that one's fine too. Does everybody have a job position that they found that they're interested in applying for, have already applied for potentially? Okay, I want you to get those out, and we'll be using those to practice writing our cover letters. You guys have any questions at this point?
So when I got done, we're doing it again? Or
If you think you've already got it kind of where you want it, we can look over it again. If there's anything you want to add, or we can definitely look over it. But if you think you've got it where you want it, you don't have to rewrite it. But just kind of a good template to have for any future cover letters as well. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit of time to just practice writing these on your own. Yes. Pause our video for